Hello everybody, this is Juhi with another card making video. Today I'll be showing how to create this gorgeous watercolor floral card using alternative stamps. The stamp set is called Watercolor Blooms. If you're like me and you're not really comfortable doing freehand watercoloring, then this stamp set is just for you. So I'll be using my Misty tool to do all the stamping since it's a layered stamp set, and Misty makes it really easy to do layered stamping. I begin by placing my die cut piece of watercolor paper onto the Misty tool and securing it with magnets. So this is the stamp set. This is how the stamp set looks like, and I'm going to start with the largest bloom in the set, and as you can see, the all the layers of the bloom are clearly demarcated on the stamp set. And I'll be stamping the blooms with various shades of distressing, and this for the large bloom I'm using shades of pink, which is sponge sugar, worn lipstick, and picked raspberry. So I begin my stamp I taking out the biggest layer of that flower and placing it onto my Misty tool. I'm using the guide at the back of the stamp set as to align all the layers of the flower. So the biggest layer I place it onto my paper, and now I'm going to ink it with sponge sugar distressing. I'm not really worried about getting complete coverage because I will be going over all the blooms with water at the end so that any white spots are will be hidden. So the second layer I stamp with the worn lipstick, and the third layer with picked raspberry. I'm not really concerned about aligning the layers perfectly too because it's watercolor. It's like a watercolor. They're watercolor blooms, and I don't really want them to be perfect. So I just roughly align them. So the sentiment I'm using is from MFT, and I'll be placing it on the upper right corner. And since it'll be die cut, I will use the die as a guide and stamp my sentiment inside it. I am using VersaFine black onyx black ink for the sentiment. Now I'll go ahead and stamp all the remaining flowers, and I'm using various shades of distressing for the blooms, and I'm going to speed up the video and add some music, and you can watch me stamp. I do stamp a little in the under the sentiment, two on all sides. Once I'm happy with the stamping, I go over all the blooms with a wet brush. I'm really liberal with the amount of water I'm adding and try to blend in all the color. Since it's been some time since I stamped these blooms, the colors will have been absorbed by the watercolor paper and they're not blending too much, but the overall effect is really pretty and I like it, so I'm going to stick with it. So I keep on adding water till I'm able to blend and remove any white spaces. Now my background panel is ready and dry, and I'm going to go ahead and die cut the sentiment. I'm using a circular die. I use some washi tape to keep the die in place while I run it through my big shot. So this is what it looks like, and now I can remove and the sentiment from the background panel. And the bigger background panel, I'm going to place it onto my craft cardstock with some double-sided foam tape, and the sentiment I'll adhere with some liquid glue right directly onto the cardstock. So it's like a inlaid sentiment. So here my card is ready, and to finish it off, I'll add some pretty pink brush clear sequence, and this is what the finished card looks like. I like the stamp set so much that I created a quick frame out of it also. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my card video. Bye bye.